All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is 7:36 a.m. So early. We're doing it live. Yeah, so welcome to everybody who is new to the channel. I am doing weekly live streams. We're switching up the format just a little bit today, where we're actually going to start off with the topic and then we'll open it up to a more AMA thing where any questions that you have will be answered. Maybe not correctly, but they will be answered most of the time. So today we're going to start off with a hey Tito. We're going to start off with a topic that I couldn't find myself to make a video about, but I thought was pretty important, and that is, let me go ahead and switch the camera real quick. That is the 50,000 scholarships that Google is putting out for Udacity. I thought this was really cool and was worth a mention. And let's go ahead and dive into how you can qualify for that and what you're going to get out of it, or what you can get out of it. So as you can see here, we have a earn a developer scholarship from Google. There's 50,000 of them, but like everything, the devil is in the details. First off, this is open to U.S. students only. So unfortunately, if you're not from the United States, this won't apply to you. It's not for all the now degree programs. It's for two specific ones, the web developer and the Android learning path. And by the way, there's a link for this in the description. It's the very first thing in the video. So if you're interested in applying, you can just go ahead and click the link and go there. So you have the web developer path, and we'll cover that one first, where you're basically going to go into two groups, where you're going into a beginner track for 15,000 people who get approved, and then the intermediate track for 10,000 people. And what's going to happen from there is basically based off your skill level, you get filtered into one of those groups. Now, from there, the 10% of the top students will be awarded with a full scholarship for the front end web developer or the front end mobile web specialist nano degree program that you can continue on. So that's the web developer portion. The applications are due by the end of November, so you have about a month to get it done. It only takes about 10 to 15 minutes. So if you're interested in this and you don't want to spend the money, or you're low on cash, whatever it is, I highly encourage you to try your best and get in there. What you'll find is a lot of people will apply and you're like, oh man, only 10%. But a lot of people will apply to stuff like this and they'll never actually get around to doing it, I guess is what I'm trying to say. They will just apply and wait, and they won't finish. So if you actually finish, I think you have a pretty good chance of being one of the groups of people that will have a chance of getting the actual nano degree. All right, so that's the web development portion, and the Android development portion. By the way, can someone say something in chat? It seems that my chat may not be working. Just say hello, Dylan, whatever. It'd be appreciated. So, one other thing is that not only do you need to be in the U.S., you have to be 18 years older. So, unfortunately, if you're a boy genius or girl genius, thank you, Fasal Ali. But if you're the young stud, unfortunately, this isn't going to apply to you. You got to be old stud. Not that 18's old, but in comparison. So there's also the Android, which there's 25,000 scholarships going on right now. And this is going to give you 3-month access and you'll get mentors with this as well, to the beginner track or the intermediate track of Android. And similarly, it's going to go down and break the nano degrees out to a 1,500 and a 1,000 for a total of 2,500 for beginner and intermediate, which is pretty cool in my opinion. And again, it's the same exact due dates, which is November 30th, and you'll be notified by December 7th. So it's going to be a pretty quick turnaround. I would encourage you, if it's something that you're interested in, to apply. I'm halfway thinking of applying, but I don't know. I think this would be fun. But we'll see. I don't know what. Maybe I'll apply myself. I just don't want to take somebody else's ticket. I'm already working as a developer, and even though I enjoy learning and stuff like that, it seems like a kind of a dick move in my opinion. But I want to share that with you. Again, the link is in the description below. So if that's something you're interested in, all you gotta do is click that link and apply today. It takes about 10 to 15 minutes from what the article says, which is pretty cool, right? So Google, the reason that's able to happen is Google wants more developers because there's a developer shortage, right? So here you are, someone's willing to help pay for your education and give you practical real world skills. And I encourage some of you who are interested in take advantage. Hey, Stink, come on. Come on. Up. You coming up? Come on. Come on. My cat's over here debating if he wants to jump up or not. Come on. Get up. Tito, up. Okay, Daddy pick you up. Daddy pick you up, you little fat cat. Oh. There you go. Oh. All right. So if you're new to the Saturday weeklies, they're very similar to my 1,000 subscriber live stream, where what I try and do is answer your questions, because one of the things that I always found that I got a little bit of mentorship from a coworker of mine, but not too much. And I found the little bit of mentorship I did get was very helpful. It helped open my eyes to a lot of things, and that's why I like to do these live streams for about an hour or so on Saturdays. So if there's any questions you guys have, if not, I will start discussing what I'm working on and what's exciting in my life or exciting for me. So we'll start there, right? So for those of you who don't know, I'm looking to buy my first investment property. So that's something that I'm doing. April and I are going to look at some open houses in the area just to kind of see what's going on. And it's just, I say that not to, oh, look at what I'm doing, look how great I am, but it is very interesting to go from April and I are sleeping on a couch together, 3+ years ago, to now we are buying a house for an investment. Like, what the hell? So that's something that I'm learning a lot about. I'm also learning a lot about stock investments. I'm also learning a lot about cryptocurrencies lately. I've been playing around in that, loving that, having a lot of fun. And I'm also building my first course. Actually, I'm building 2 courses right now. I've been working on the how to create a coding channel course, and I've been working on the mini portfolio project course, which is an Angular portfolio that's designed to look like a basic changelog, and then from there, that's kind of what I've been working on. So that I actually finished the first rough draft of the course. I just in terms of content, I have to go and film it now, and then I'll put it on the channel for $5 or $7. But that's what I've been up to. I've been recording some podcast stuff, but I haven't actually released the podcast yet. So right now I'm kind of backpiling interviews. I mean, other than the YouTube stuff and everything else, Mr. Boston and Jonathan Piacazara, welcome. But yeah, so I have some good videos coming out next week for you guys as well, which is kind of exciting. Which is the top 5 best things about being a developer and the top 5 worst things about being a web developer. So that's going to look good. I also have a collaboration coming out with Ricky Garcia, if you're a fan of his. He's a smaller coding channel. I think he has around 2,000 subscribers, where we talk about how you can get involved in the coding community, because I think that's really important, especially as you're getting started. Hey, Tito. You guys are so quiet today. Normally everyone asks questions. I guess it's too early. But yeah, so that's coming out. Those are my 3 videos for next week. I'm trying to, if you guys don't know my schedule, I throw out a video 6 a.m. Eastern, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and then I do a random live stream on Saturday, and an occasional additional live stream every 1,000 subscribers. Although, I don't know, I might be cutting that one out and just doing, since I'm doing the Saturday weeklies. We'll see. So this is one of those opportunities where I try and get, all right, Tito, come on. You're too hot. This is one of those opportunities that I personally, if you want to make suggestions on, hey, you know, Dylan, I'd like to see a video about this, or you just want an answer to something in your life that maybe I can help with, no guarantee. This is a good opportunity for that as well. I use these live streams as a way to not only provide value, but also to try and see, you know, hey, you know, that's a really great question. Let's make a video about it. And that's how, like, the WordPress video comes about. If someone asked me about WordPress for the millionth time, and finally I thought, hey, I should probably do a video about this. Or unpaid internships. So all that sort of stuff. You guys got nothing today, huh? Just hi, hello. Something about a dick move. Okay, well, I will continue to talk. Let's see, what am I working on? Well, I just told you about the courses. I'm backpiling podcasts. I need to get a couple more people on the channel to interview. My main focus lately has been on monetizing of the channel and providing value in a different way. And although you haven't really seen too much of it quite yet, that's been something that I've been trying to do for a variety of reasons, right? But really just for money. So it's an interesting balance of, hey, how can I monetize my channel while still being true to myself and not coming, like, you don't want to just sell anything. What would it be? If you did do the Udacity program, which route would I go? Let's see. I would probably go the mobile web specialist, just because I feel like the front end developer with the beginner on it. I definitely would do one of the intermediate paths if I was going to do this. Yeah, I think I would do for web developer, go the mobile web specialist, just because I think I'd have to go at least one of the intermediate paths. Good morning, Michael. What is MATLAB about? I never had to touch MATLAB. I couldn't tell you, but my understanding is that it's like a math programming tool, programming language sort of thing that's used in engineering. That's my basic understanding of it. If you ever go to an Engineered Truth live stream, he would have I know he's much more familiar with it than I am. Yeah, so, but in terms of monetizing, it's been an interesting process so far, and I think it's been pretty successful in my opinion, of being able to monetize while still not bothering your audience. One of the ways that I've been monetizing the channel is I have been after my introduction, hey, today we're going to be talking about this and that, and then we jump to the channel intro where it's that's my tap music, and then it says some stuff, and then it's me kind of giving a brief, hey, shout out to blah blah blah. That's been one way that I've been able to, and believe it or not, I haven't had a single person complain, which is really nice, because most of the stuff that I've been promoting, I should say most of the stuff, all the stuff I use is stuff I use, and I tend to believe that like if I use it, you guys might be interested in it. So here's a question. I'm currently learning the front end development. How many projects should I create for my GitHub? Well, not only all your projects that you do make should be on your GitHub, but also what I would like to say is that you should have them live on your portfolio site, because that's really going to be more impressive for potential people down the road. But yeah, so that's been one way that I've been able to do that. I've done that with like Humble Bundle links, some of the investment opportunity stuff that I'm using. So it's been pretty cool. And it's probably something I'll continue to do. But in return, if you guys haven't noticed this week, so I was like, okay, well, I'm throwing this in here. How can I make my videos better? But I can't really devote too much time to it, right? Because I mean, it's one of those things where I don't have so much time to work on the channel as in terms of editing. Like the videos probably take me an hour to edit and whatnot. Yeah, it's only open to U.S. residents. Sorry, Michael. If you're interested in the Udacity stuff, guys, that's the very first thing that we covered in this video. So check that out. Like literally the very first thing. So you won't have to go find it. We talk about what the requirements are and the process and everything. But yeah, so I personally think either one is fine. So my advice for learning Angular or React is go and do a course in both, and then learn whichever one you like best, and you'll be much better suited. That's my advice personally. Also, see what jobs are in your area. So let's see here. But yeah, so one of the things that I've been doing, because I was like, okay, well, I'm throwing some affiliate links in the videos. How can I provide value in for me a time effective manner? And so to make my videos, one, better, and two, just maybe offer a little something more, since we're throwing in some affiliate links and some shout outs. And the way that has happened, what has evolved from that is, you may not have noticed it, but in 2 of the videos this week, and it's going to be in every video I do now, is at the very end of the video, there's a joke going on where, based off the topic, like if you didn't watch the unpaid internship video, I'll show you the joke real quick, in case for some reason you didn't watch the unpaid internship video, which you should. That's a decent video. Although I think I was a little sleepy when I started. So I'm basically talking about unpaid internships. Okay. And in this case, I normally don't throw a tie up. I thought it would be a funny and appropriate. All right, so this specific, and they're little like 10-second or 20-second skits. They're not like super. Oh, that's the wrong one. That's the outtake. So they're little like 10 to 15-second skits that are related to the topic, and that's one thing that I'm trying to do to make, like, just evolve the channel slightly. Nothing super time consuming or costly, but that I think people who watch the video would enjoy. And this is an example one. If you wanted to, this is specifically from the unpaid internship video. So just little things like that. Do you think online degrees from Udemy and Treehouse actually help you get recognized by companies? I hope I haven't joined the stream late. We're going to be going for another 30 minutes or so, maybe an hour. So this is Matt. This is what my understanding is with these sorts of programs. And I think I'm pretty much dead on. Let me open up the window a little bit. But this has been my experience as well with it. So when it comes to these online degrees, 90% of employers don't have any idea what's going on with it. And I could say that confidently because I recently interviewed and no one knew what the Udacity Now degree program was. So where it does help you is one, you put it on your resume. It's a conversation starter where you say, you know, what is this? You have something on here about a nano degree. What is that? Is that a boot camp? What is? And then you go into, well, it's a sort of mini online boot camp where in it I'm building out projects and I have mentors and things like that. And from there, I build out 3 projects, one using React, one using React Redux, one using React Native. And on top of that, not only did I take what was there, I then built these 5 other projects that are associated with it to really reinforce it. And so what you do there is you take this thing that they don't know and then you turn it into something that they respect, essentially, and say, oh, wow, that's really cool. And then so you know React. Yes, I do know React. And so it's essentially same thing with the free code camp certificate. 99% of people will never know what free code camp is, but when you put it on your resume, it does give you an opportunity to sell yourself and say how it is valuable, and that's really what you have to do with it. Did I calm down with the caffeine? So I'm down to 1 energy drink a day. I am slowly replacing them out of my diet, though. I had some days I skip. Today is not one of those days. I apologize. We all have our shortcomings, I assure you. Mine happens to be stimulants, specifically caffeine. Stimulants makes it sound like I'm like a crackhead. Caffeine. I was just trying to sound sophisticated, but caffeine is what my issue is. So what I use for screen capture, right now we're using the Google Hangouts that's built into YouTube. And usually I'm using OBS, though. When I'm like filming my videos and things like that. But yeah, so when it comes to these online degrees, it's really about the skills you gain through them, and how you apply them and how you sell them. That's the main thing. Is that's where you get. That's what you get out of these programs. Is in college, you get a degree that is respected because people know what a CS degree is. Maybe it's not as expected as this nice college or this Ivy League school, but it's still respected to a degree because that is what the universal standard is in society. Nowadays, a lot of developers aren't going through CS programs. There's a decent amount who are, but there's a decent amount who aren't as well. And so they go alternative routes and self-taught routes, and you invest in your education, and that's some of these things that it's about taking what you learn, applying it, showcasing it, and explaining it. And that's really how you should try and tackle these degrees or these certificate programs. I've not got my hands on Angular 5. I didn't know that was on its way out until someone mentioned it. I'm expecting all my work projects when I update to latest to break. That's what I'm expecting. And one thing I would say about these degree programs is the thing that hurts a lot of people, even though they take these things and they're not, and they go and they pass, because you can pass almost any of these as long as you throw a little bit of effort into it, is that they don't continue their learning and they don't continue to grind, right? So when I finished the first React section of the, and mind you, I have no plans to finish the nano degree. This was something I was doing when I was looking for work. I was doing the now degree program. I did the first third, and I started the second one. I got to the second project, and then I got a job. And one thing that I did when I finished the third section was I went and I built like 4 React projects to reinforce the one React project that I basically had my hand held through it. It was a great project. It was a very interesting project, but from there I was able to go and build out some smaller projects to really reinforce those things. And I don't think enough people really do that, because that is really how you learn. So a good example of why I'm going to structure my course this way is, so as I mentioned, I'm doing a small portfolio course where it's just a project basically, and we're going to introduce a few things that aren't necessarily introduced all that much. And one of it is refactoring, because we're going to be looking at ways to do certain things one way, and we're going to be looking at ways to do certain things in a different and sometimes better way, and then testing as well. But also what I'm going to leave you with at the end, and I'll come back and I'll at some point in time circle back and add these features, but are, hey, here are some additional features that came to mind that you could take this project that I walked you through and built and explain the concepts. And now here are 5 features that you could go on your own and build onto this thing that is already existing, and teach yourself these things, and kind of use a project as a outline of which is only 70% complete, which is passing, right? So, but how can you make it your own after that? And that's how I'm going to try and leave my projects, so that you can continue to have a few ideas on how to go from there. Because I do think a lot of times people will watch projects and they'll just copy the code more or less, and they're like, yeah, I got it. I learned Angular today, and not always the case. Angular 5 is still in beta. I'm already in a dilemma of moving forward. So I know for a fact that in my workplace, we always will be going with the latest, which is nice. So when we're starting new projects and stuff like that, that will definitely be what's going to happen. So we'll see what happens. But I'm just hoping that they actually just do good QA and bug testing. And since there is no such thing as enough QA, probably will crash somewhere. Honestly, did you learn the majority of what you know, what I know now, after getting hired? That's an interesting question. In terms of actual JavaScript, I don't know. I think it's a snowball effect, right? So I would say yes, but that doesn't mean that I didn't know enough to get a job or to do my job. The reason I say yes is because if you go back and you look at the video that I did where I said what I've learned in my first year as a developer, I talk about what I learned at work, and then I talk about what I learned outside of work. And that outside of work portion was larger than the at work portion. And the reason for that is, honestly, after you get your first job, you need to make sure that you're getting better for a couple of reasons. One, you want to stay in the industry. 2, you want to make more money in the industry. And so if you were to compare how good of a developer I am now, and this is not me saying that I'm like God tier or anything. I think I'm a scrub. But if you were to compare today's scrub to a year ago scrub, I am probably twice the developer that I was in when I started a year ago. And I base that off a few things. Sheer amount of knowledge, being exposed to a lot more, writing a lot more code, and a lot of the non-software languages skills that you pick up working in an environment, right? So doing more wireframes, architecting projects, people skills in terms of how you need to communicate your projects, ticketing systems, testing, quality assurance, gathering requirements. these are all things that you really can't get exposed to unless you're working on a production level application. So that would be my thing is yes, I have learned quite a bit since getting hired. But I think it doesn't mean that you don't know enough before you get hired. You know what I mean? I don't think I went in unprepared. I just think that in reality, I just work a lot, and so it's probably going to increase because there's a lot of room for growth. So, but also, I mean, I say this, I've had a couple. So, in terms of developers at my work, I'm a little bit on the junior level in terms of experience, but I've had other developers say to me, and I don't know if they're just trying to be nice, but that they say, you know, I'm kind of surprised to see that you're a junior developer because I assume that you had many more years of experience, and part of what I contribute that to is somebody who's very passionate and studies outside of work, right? So even though maybe I only have a year and a half of actual software experience, of technical experience that's directly involved in being a developer, when you compare it with the fact that in that year and a half, I've built projects every weekend, I've went and I've you know, have the channel, have podcasts, right? I write blogs on occasion. I do all these sorts of things that are helping me become a better developer. In that year and a half, I have like 5 years experience of the average developer, I feel like. So that could be something where you're like, what goes back to your question is, do I feel like I've grown significantly? Yes, I do. And I'm going to try and continue that as best my ability. So Pratik Gojia says, you won't believe what I'm going to tell you next. I'm a fresh graduate in computer. I'm going to say he's been computer science as a major. I interviewed yesterday. The guy asked me about some basic questions about JavaScript and Node, and boom, I got hired. Do you really think I should really give it a shot? Because the guy didn't even test my coding skills. It was all verbal. I think you should see if they actually extend an offer. That's for sure. A lot of times, I got my first coding job. It was all verbal. I didn't have a coding challenge because they liked me so much, and I answered the questions well enough. So every hiring practice is different. But if they offer you a good salary, I think you should definitely take it. Walter Max says, what things can you wait to learn until you are on the job? Meaning you should worry less about things like Ajax, SAS, BootStrap, etc. before applying for jobs. So you should definitely worry about Ajax. You should definitely worry about BootStrap. I'll give you a personal example from my a workplace of mine in the past. Not my current workplace, but a workplace of mine in the past, where they would interview developers. And one thing that they would ask is, what are the 4 HTTP verbs? What are they? And what do they do? So for anybody who's done any web development, this is basically an Ajax question at the end of the day. And this is something that if you ever built a project, you would know what these are. And this isn't like a trick question or anything like that. So if you're a web developer or trying to be a web developer, this is a very, very basic entry level question. And unfortunately, a lot of candidates can't answer this question. And it just in case you're one of those people, the answer really is get, put, post, and delete. And so get gets data, post creates data, put updates data, delete deletes data. So something along those. Those are really the four main ones. And so a lot of times people can't even get there. But anyhow, so yeah, you definitely need to know Ajax. SAS, I wouldn't worry too much about. That's just a CSS compiler. A lot of people don't care about CSS for JavaScript developers. And you want to focus on your JavaScript more than anything else. I can tell you that this is something I've struggled with. I'm actually looking to take a CSS course myself to fix this about my skill set. BootStrap would be important. Now, the reason I say that's important is you're going to need to be familiar, even though you're not going to hopefully be applying for web design jobs where CSS is super important. You're going to want to be at least familiar with resizing based off a column grid system or a flexbox system. So that's why I would say you should probably pick up BootStrap, at least for your responsiveness. So Pratik Jojo says, they are not offering me much, but enough for me to start my career. They are hiring me as a mean stack developer. I'm quite confused. Can you please explain a little about your opinion? So it sounds like they're offering you a shitty salary, Pratik. I don't know what that is in comparison. So I'll give you an example from a recent video. So recently I did an unpaid internship video, and their paid interns were making on average $55,000 a year. Well, unpaid interns were making around $33,000 a year. And if you look any comparison, so if the market rate really is 55,000, which is what that means, in my opinion. So whatever the market rate is, you should be getting within $10,000 in either direction as your starting income for the most part. So I would encourage you to go ahead and either decline, counter offer, or just hold out for another role. At least how I understand it from our brief conversation on here. So you don't use CSS at all at your job? No, of course I use CSS. I know CSS. I'm just not very good at CSS. What I mean by that is that I don't have a design eye, and I kind of need. I would like to get better at design. It's not that I can't do CSS. I can do it just fine. I'm just not the best at it, nor am I where I want to be. Now, I've never wanted to get into design, but that's sometimes goes hand in hand with web development, right? There's front-end developers and there's front-end designers, and I definitely fall into the developer category. Is what I'm trying to say, I guess. I don't know what it is about CSS that trips me up. I just think maybe it might be one of those, like, I either got too dependent on things, or it's just my brain doesn't work in terms of design that way. Like, I've never been artistic. I tried to be a couple times where I was like, yeah, let me see if I can think this out and try and draw when I was a kid, right? And I always tried to get into drawing because I was into anime, and I just dog shit. It was awful. It was so bad for so long. So yeah, I don't know. I just don't know. But we all have shortcomings in our career, and it's up to us to get better at that. And I mean, it just is what it is right now, where, hey, you know, I mean, I've been very honest. If it's a web design job, it's not for me. I do web development. Hey, shout out to our homies from Albuquerque. So I'll be here for about another 5 to 10 minutes, guys. So if there's any last minute questions, please enter them in the chat. And as we're wrapping this up, let me go ahead and do a little shout out to myself. If you want to support me, you can at patreon.com/codingtutorials360, where you can give a small monthly donation and get some perks with that, like these wonderful stickers. Also, you can, of course, donate with the excuse me, with the super chat icon in chat if you're here live. And of course, you can join the Facebook group that we have a link for, Code Tech and Caffeine, as well as just make sure that you watch the videos. So that's always good too, man. Watch every video, every one. They're all quality. All right, maybe not all, but most of them are pretty good. I'm terrible at art and writing. I've always been better at math. So I enjoy writing. I don't know that I'm great at it, but I'm better than most. What happened to your Udemy course? I'm working on it. So if you're Arun Kumar, if you're talking about the portfolio, the Angular portfolio, I finished the rough draft version of that. Now I'm going to refactor it. I'm going to film. So I have to film the intro, what we're going to cover, and then I have to film the, hey, this is the original. And then which will be part of it, and then we're going to refactor it, which is just as important. So that course, everything, I would say, I think this will be out by next weekend. I'm also working on the How to Build a Coding Channel course, which is kind of exciting as well. So yeah, I've been working pretty hard at it. UX designer stands for user experience. Essentially, their job is to make sure that it's kind of interesting because it's UX and UI kind of, for me anyhow, should fall into the same category. But essentially what it is how well does the site or the application function for a user. So it's their job to design something that works very nicely. Am I still doing the Bitpatine investing? I am. I'll share you my link if you're interested. I just threw another $400 into it, actually. But yeah, so the Angular portfolio, because I finished it last night, the first iteration, and there's the link there if you're interested. But yeah, so I finished it last night, and then I will continue to work on a few aspects of it. I mentioned this earlier, but essentially I'm going to have a refactoring part, and I'm also going to have a section where you can then also I'll put in some, hey, some features that you could do and build this out yourself. But yeah, so that course though, it'll be my first course. It's going to be $5. It's because it's just one project. It's just a single project course, but by the end of it, my goal is to have you be able to understand some of the core concepts that are evolved around Angular, and so that maybe you can go and build your own sort of little project. Who the hell thumbs down this video? There's somebody who really doesn't like me who goes and thumbs down almost every one of my videos. I had one guy, I forget who it was, said that he came into my live stream and he said to me, I just want you to know that every time I'm a fan. He said something along the lines of, I'm a fan, but whenever I see you not have a dislike on your video, I dislike it to keep you humble or something like that. That's what he said. I was like, come on, man. But yeah, so I mean, you guys can counteract that, right? By liking the video and thumbing it up. And that doesn't mean that you have to. A lot of times people don't think about it, but it does help. So my like to dislike ratio is like 99-1. So most of the time my videos, like for instance, 5 things I would tell my younger self has 102 likes and 1 dislike. The WordPress video has 107 likes to 4 dislikes. 4 of them were WordPress developers, so I expected that. Getting started with Bitcoin, blockchain, and cryptocurrencies has 46 likes, 0 dislikes, so that guy must be on vacation. But yeah, so it's all relative, right? But 29 side project ideas, 128 likes, 1 dislike. So for the most part, my videos have very good like to dislike ratios, but I don't know. There's always, you can't please everybody. I don't really worry about it. But what you can do is when you watch, you can say, fuck your dislike. Here's my like, baby. Let's cancel that shit out. And you can help me out that way. Make sure that if you guys haven't already, you are subscribed and you have the little bell icon where you can get notifications when my videos go out and do all that stuff. So as we are here and we are wrapping up the live stream, for those of you who don't know, I'd like to leave you on a little bit of a final thought. Would I recommend? All right, so now all of a sudden now you guys are asking questions. All right, would you recommend investing in Bitcoin or stocks? I invest in both. My Bitcoin investments have done me very well. I have turned about 4,500 into about 9,000, although about 1,000 of that is in affiliate cuts. So I'm doing very well with that, with Bitcoin though in general. I also have stocks, and my stocks are doing very poorly because I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. And although I'm getting about a 5% return. So to spread out my investments in total, I have basically a savings, what I consider a savings account in Acorns and Betterment, in which I put $62.50 each a week into that, and that goes into a auto portfolio that's managed by them. And those are earning me around 3%. I also have a peer-to-peer lending platform called Prosper, where I'm lending on there, and I'm getting about 6% right now, but I've restructured that to bring it up to about 8% to 9% right now. And that's just getting auto invested. I put about $500 a month into that. And then I have my Robinhood account where I am putting about, let's see, probably about right now it's around $1,000 a month into Robinhood, and I'm rebuilding that because I had $4,500 in that. I cashed that out and I put it into Bitcoin. So I'm rebuilding that, and I'm rebuilding my stocks. And actually, I was doing quite well, and then AMD took a shit and crashed my portfolio. So. But yeah, so I have stocks in Robinhood, and then I have my my Bitcoin investments as well. And I have not only am I buying the coins, but I'm also using these high risk, high yielding investment platforms where my $100 in Bitcoin, assuming the site is still paying and up, will return me 147% over 6 weeks. And so I make a 47% profit. I've been doing that for a bit, and that was what the Bit Petite thing was. That was being suggested a second ago. So I'll throw a link in the chat if you're interested in that. Again, it's very high risk. Some of these have closed in the past, so don't go balls deep. But if you want to play around with it, I can tell you that I'm using a couple different ones, and they've all been very successful for me so far. Okay, so that was my investment spiel. Someone asked me, I don't watch Stranger Things on Netflix. I caught like 2 episodes when I was traveling with Engineered Truth in Utah, and we kind of were like, I don't know about this one. Do I invest in other coins like Ethereum or Litecoin? Yes, I have Litecoin, I have Ethereum, and I have Bitcoin. I'm also looking into potentially picking up some Monero, and I'm potentially looking into buying my first, not potentially, I'm going to be buying my first ICO in the near future. So we'll see how that turns out. Okay, guys. What should our final thought be? I think this. I really liked Y134's question about, honestly, did I learn what to know after getting hired? So let's focus on that as our final thought. So one thing that can separate a good developer from a very poor developer, or someone who's going to be successful in life from someone who's not, is really how we're going to look at it, is the person who's successful is going to continue to grow. We don't live in this world anymore where you get your degree or you get your education and then you stop growing. You stop becoming a good developer. We live in a world where technology is changing so fast, not only in software, but in general, that people have access to education, and it's expected that you are taking advantage of that and that you're growing. You're not just going to get raises in life and get ahead in life because of years experience. It's going to help, but there's a reason that there's a median income that some people are above, and there's a median income that some people are below, and that some people are just right at. And if you want to be above, which I hope should be your goal, you're going to need to put in some work in various aspects of your life. And that doesn't necessarily mean coding, doesn't necessarily mean, as a career. It does mean that you need to, as a person, say that a year from now, I am better off than I was before, and have a game plan on how to accomplish that. We just briefly touched on a few things about investments. Those investments, I don't have a ton of money, but I'm teaching myself about investing through investing. And let me tell you, sometimes the easiest way for you to learn how to make money is first to lose money, and then you'll start realizing what you're doing wrong and change some things. So part of that is I want to be financially secure in my life, and I'm learning about that. I don't want a year from now to be like, am I less financially secure? Do I know less for these goals and things that I want to accomplish? And that goes the same for your software career, right? Maybe you start out as front end only and you say, I want to be full stack. A year from now, how much closer are you to being full stack? A year's a long time, right? That gives you, 355 days, 356 days to get your shit together, really, or 365, excuse me, and go and say, hey, every day I'm going to work towards something. And if you watch my most recent video, on Wednesday, where I talk about the top 5 things I would tell my younger self, everything on that list was about how you can improve yourself. And it wasn't like people oftentimes are looking for these quick, okay, I'll just do this one thing and my life will change. It doesn't work like that in the world. What you need to do is you need to take these changes, objectively think about what it is that these changes are going to accomplish, and then you need to implement these changes for long periods of time, if not for your entire life, right? If you want to be better off in your love life, if you want to be better off in your career, these aren't changes that you can make over a weekend. They're changes you can start today, and you're going to have to continue to work on tomorrow and the following day and the next day, right? So it's one of those things where you need to continue to grow, and for you to continue to grow, it's a daily grind, and just be aware of that. So when somebody asks me like, hey, did you learn everything after your first job? I didn't learn everything, but I learned a lot quicker, and I learned a lot more because I kept on learning. And I just got thrown into an environment where I got paid to learn at the end of the day. Well, every position I ever have, I want to feel like I'm getting paid to learn. So that's my 2 cents. I hope that you guys have a wonderful weekend. This is our Saturday Weekly. If you're interested in the Udacity Now degree program, go ahead and check that out. If you're interested in the Bit Petite stuff, I'll throw it in the description of the video as well, since it got brought up a few times. And I appreciate you all. It is a wonderful day, and we have come so far together. I feel like we are going on around 2.5 years, and I'm going to look at investment properties. It's kind of crazy. I was delivering pizzas 3 years ago and sleeping on a couch, and here we are. Hard work, man. I even have braces. You guys I don't know if you guys knew this. I never really talked about this, but my teeth have been crooked for about 5-6 years. And it was something that I was so self-conscious about for so long. Whether I should be or not, or whether that makes me a weak person, is besides the point, but I was. And I couldn't afford braces. So I just didn't smile. And because I was so self-conscious about it, I just didn't smile. And so I was able to get braces, and you know, it's the little things, and like some of you guys might say that's silly, Dylan, you know. But for me, it was a big deal to finally get the braces on. Yeah. Anyhow, guys, I appreciate you the best, and I want to see us all succeed. The Udacity scholarship. Just watch the first part of the video. You'll see that there. Bye, guys. It's been something positive. How about that? We'll leave it on that. Bye.